How's it going, everybody? Hope you're all doing well. So, controversial topic. The thumbnail probably already set off a bunch of people, but I'm going to explain to you why I think, in my opinion, that drop legs or thigh rigs suck. They're terrible, in my opinion, and in my use throughout many, many years of carrying a pistol on my side. We're going to discuss some of the downsides. So, if you are one of those people that love your drop rig, then that's okay, because you can find a way to train around it. Maybe use what I am talking about as a way to train on specific things to get better at it. So this is just my opinion, but I think it's pretty solid and why I've honestly ditched it. So let's dive into it. I'm going to give some specifics and I'm going to show you some things why I don't carry it anymore and I think they suck. All right, so first point that I want to bring up is vehicle-based use. Regardless if you are, infantry, military, or law enforcement, or even just a prepared civilian, as you can see, already it is pronounced to be an issue. It is not oriented in the proper direction. Now, we're going to go through draw strokes and all this kind of stuff to really magnify and show you what's going on. Now, I used a drop leg, and actually my original is right here. And as you see, it's fairly nice because I ditched it really fast. This was issued to me back when we were still in the military carrying the Beretta M9. And I ditched it and went to my chest. I actually have some photos of me rolling around in Afghanistan with a chest-mounted Beretta because I hated the drop leg so much because it was very difficult in and around spaces, especially long treks or hikes or rucks. We'll get to that here in a second. But right now, as you can see, if I'm a patrolman, or say I even have a rifle, a long gun is very difficult to maneuver around tight spaces, specifically around vehicles. Or maybe you're a patrolman and you're required to lock it up in the rear. Your rifle is in the back or something like that, and your primary is your pistol. As you can see, it is not properly oriented for a nice draw. Now, can it be done? Yes, of course. If I'm sitting here, I can orient my body to the right or the left, draw, and then go ahead and do what I need to, or I can exit the vehicle. But another issue that pronounces itself is safety. Do you want your insurance to pay out if you get in a car accident? If you're not wearing a seatbelt, they may not. So, now you have another issue. It's okay, cool, you can think about it in the moment. Let's move this off to the side, right? Seatbelt. Do we go around, under, over? Is it gonna get hung up if I take my seatbelt off? Can you remember to throw it over top? Is it underneath? Personally, I do not like it, but let's go back to the draw with the seatbelt on, right? Okay, so you have it set up like this as a normal drive. You're pretty well buckled in. I have to try to orient myself to get to my pistol, which is not gonna happen. So do you take your seatbelt off, which I could probably do that, which now you're hung up, which you could go around, but there's just so much excess nonsense around the drop leg. Same with the reholster. Now, like I said, you could break your entire body up and go ahead and do what you want, reholster and everything. Excess movement, unnecessary movement. Excess movement takes time. If you want to be quick, it's not going to work. And this is just a passenger seat. We haven't even technically got to the driver's seat, which then you have the center console. So let's push over to that. All right, so now we're on the driver's side. Of course, there's a steering wheel, duh. Now I've raised up my center console so you can see this a little bit easier. But at the same time, some vehicles don't have that option. So this center console could be an issue for this. Now, wherever you orient it, I know some people like to flip it around on top. I've heard a lot of people doing that. But ultimately, it's difficult. Now, what are you doing? Drawing into your side or into your stomach? How about we just leave it where it's supposed to be? Now, running your seatbelt off, again, which is extremely dangerous, and especially if you're a patrolman or even in general, yes, you can, cant your body. But at the same time, if I'm going to have to cant my body, let's give a pretty good explanation for this. I'm going to turn on my vehicle, right? Your right leg is also used for other things, as in the gas pedal. So if I'm in a hurry right now and I have to, let's say for some reason, go ahead and draw, if I flex out, you're gonna hit the gas pedal. And if you're in drive, you're gonna send it. Which I get it, all these things you have to worry about, because maybe you think about it. You're driving, you pull off, and then you come up and out. Excess movement. It's ridiculous. We haven't even got to the main issue. Let's turn it off. Seatbelt over the top. You just limited yourself of drawing. Pain. Okay, cool. Let's do something different. Let's go below it. Right? All right. Cool, that's reasonable, but now the waist belt strap isn't really doing much because it's not up against my body where it's supposed to be. You could run it like this, but again, with your seatbelt on, now it persists you from being able to flex to get out of it. See, I can't get to my gun. That's dangerous. Now, I can't get to my seatbelt too. I mean, I guess I can, so if you need to, hey, get out. Right? It's possible, but there's a lot of movement. Let's go from the back side. Go around the back, right? Maybe I'm training this way, as in putting it here. Okay, it's more accessible. Okay, I can kind of get to it, but now can I get to my seatbelt? If I need it in a hurry, my seatbelt's up underneath this. So I gotta brake again just to get out of my seatbelt. Greatly unnecessary. Not to mention everything else of weight-bearing systems on you, which we'll go through here in a second. But let me flip it over, and I'm going to do an actual belt-mounted rig, and I'll show you the difficulties, but also the benefits of that. All right, let's get up in the truck with the belt-mounted holster. You can probably already tell it's oriented in the proper location, no matter how it is. So let's talk about some draws. If you remember, I had to break a lot of angles and stuff and maneuver my body to be able to grab that pistol. If I'm driving, I'm gonna keep my center line or my body straight up and down, 100%. Only move my arm. That is all I'm doing. As you can see, oriented, even with the long extended mag, we're gonna be fine. Here we go, just arm. None of that excess movement. Your brain's processing all this other stuff that it's got to do. Even if my foot is on the gas pedal and I'm driving, I can still come up without any excess movement and get to my pistol. Now you might say, hey, you didn't have your seatbelt on. Well, you're right. So let's go ahead and put that on and show the exact same thing. Sorry if I bumped the mic. It's just, it is what it is. But as you see, you're like, okay, well, it's kind of, concealed over it, but it's not, because you have a window that you can get through it, and it's not going to hinder anything. So if you do get in a vehicle accident, yes, this is a potential hazard that the holster could suck into you. Like I said, it's not perfect, but it's definitely better than the thigh rig, in my opinion. Driving back, relaxed, or even up front, you can still get to it. Whatever it is, if you want to draw and then take off your seatbelt, let's not bump the mic, and then exit the vehicle if you need to. Whatever it is, easily reholstered right back in the same location. And that's what I'm talking about. Even if you have this center console in the way, which you could put it down, it's not affecting anything. Or your seatbelt, because your seatbelt is always to the right and your pistol is always to the left. No matter where it's oriented, it is properly there. Now let me discuss one other thing. It's kind of a little bit of body mechanics, and I'll get out here just to show you. Now it's funny enough is because it is on your hip. Your hips don't move like your legs do. Your legs go all different locations when especially when you're running. If you ever try to go draw on a dead sprint, like no joke, sorry about the wind, it's a little windy here. Just sprint with a thigh rig on and then try to draw at the same exact time. It's not gonna happen because your legs are moving, so your pistol's moving with you. This, your legs can go wherever you want, and for the most part, your pistol only moves maybe 1/4 of an inch. You could be all out in a fetal position. And honestly, let's test it out. I know it looks a little goofy, but I'm gonna put my knee to my chin and I can still draw my pistol other than the orientation of the drop leg when it was back down to the right? When it's, especially when it's up this way, if you got a thigh rig on, it's back away from you. You're not going to be able to grab it. So this is just my opinion for vehicles and even for running or long rucking marches and stuff like that. I don't like stuff on my legs because it takes more energy to propel my legs forward. My hips, there's no excess calories used because my hips are fixed in that location and they're kind of meant for weight and load bearing. So why not use that ability or your hips advantageously rather than hindering yourself? Granted, this is just my opinion, and if you guys like this kind of stuff, want to see more, definitely hit like and subscribe. I greatly appreciate it. Also, we have PayPal and Patreon and Amazon too. So if you guys want to buy certain things, use my link. It costs you nothing, and it gives me like 10 or 12 cents whenever you buy something, which I take and I put that back into other gear to present to you, and different locations and gas money and stuff like that to get out to locations like this and to do different things. So again, I appreciate it. Like, subscribe, comment. Hope y'all have a great day.